Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day's going fantastic. I'm so glad you're joining me for another 5 Easy Step card tutorial. Today we're making a card. Actually, we're going to make 2 cards. I'm going to make a bonus card at the end. And we're using some items from Spellbinders Autumn Archives collection. We have the changing leaves. I think this will make a great focal point for our card. And then for my greeting, we're going to be using the documented labels die set. And then we are going to be creating a bonus card using the falling leaves. The only item that is not part of the Autumn Archives collection is the die set that I'm going to be using for my home panel, which is called Lots of Stripes. So we're going to be using this for our home panel. So let's jump in with our step number 1 and create our focal point. I have 3 different colors of cardstock here. I have a green, a yellow, and then I have a brown. And the colors that I chose, I actually chose colors that I had lighter colors of. So I have a lighter green, a lighter yellow, and a lighter brown. Okay, we're not going to use them for our focal point, but that was important. So if you pick out some cardstock, pick out a light and a dark for the card that we're making today. Okay, for the tree trunks, we're going to use the dark brown. There's 3 different tree trunks in here, and I'm going to be using, well, let me show you. In the package, we're going to be making this tree here, and then we'll make this tree here. Okay, so we'll take the tree trunks, and then with this shaped tree, we'll cut it out with the yellow, and then with this shaped tree, we'll cut out with the green. I'll be right back. Once these are die cut out, I'm going to use my glue and go over the tree trunk. Actually, not the trunk. We're going to just go over the branches here. And we're going to layer this right over the top. And then we'll do the same thing with the other tree. There we go. We'll just tack those down. And now we have 2 focal images that I'm going to flip over and put foam tape behind, because I do like to overlap them. We'll put this one over here. Okay, that's going to be my focal point. Now we're going to move along to step number 2 and create our home panel. That is where our Lots of Stripes die comes in. For my card today, I'm actually just going to use the rounded edge here. I'm going to take some white cardstock and I'm going to die cut out just a rounded panel with this. Now while I was die cutting, I did a little extra too. This is my home panel that I mentioned we were going to die cut. That's ready. We're going to add a little color to this. And so to do that, this is where my my documenting labels comes in. That's the name of this die set. And I die cut out this little label here 3 times. Once with the browns, once with the greens, and once with the yellows. These are the same colors of cardstock that I mentioned during my focal point. Okay, what we're going to do is just layer our labels and glue them down. We'll flip these over, add a little glue. Now we're going to take the labels, we're going to add some glue behind here, and we're going to layer them on our rounded rectangle here. Maybe we'll put the green in the bottom and the yellow in the middle. I'm working fast because I don't want this to dry. Let me scoot it down a little bit. I want to just make sure that they're evenly spaced. Okay, I think that is going to be great. This adds a little bit of color. If you see a little gnat flying around, I apologize. My pear tree gave off a lot of pears, and I didn't realize it until they started dropping off the tree. And so we got lots of gnats. And then the neighbors brought over some tomatoes from their garden, which I love. And so we have lots of fruits and veggies that the gnats just love. Okay, so now we have a little color to our home panel, and that is all I'm doing to my home panel. If you want to use your ruler and get this perfectly straight, you could. That might be another option for you. Okay, so that's good to go. Now we're going to go ahead and take our little trees, and I'm going to arrange them. Maybe we should have flipped it. I think I'm going to flip the colors. I'm going to tear my paper here and I'm going to switch the green with the yellow. Let's carefully lift these up. We're going to do card surgery. You've never seen me do this. I'll usually edit it out, but I think it happens to all of us. But I'm going to switch out the yellow because the yellow is competing with my tree. And I'm going to layer it right over my green here. Okay, and then I'm going to add my green in the middle. And I think this will look better. And I don't think you'll be able to tell that I destroyed my panel. Let's see. Okay, I think that's going to work out better. Okay, now I know the green. Okay, so brown, green, yellow. This way my yellow tree is not competing with the yellow label. Okay, what we're going to do is take our focal image and I'm going to layer it over here. We'll put one here and then we will add our smaller tree over here. Wonderful. And then I will add little dots of glue behind the trunk here. And we'll tack these down. Okay, we have our home panel. Now we're going to move along to step number 3 and create our sentiment. For that, we're going to bring back our documenting labels. And I'm going to take this outline and then there's inserts. We have autumn, we have seasons, and we have leaves that will fit this insert. I'm going to bring in some white cardstock and we are going to die cut out 2 labels here. We're going to die cut out autumn leaves. So we just insert this. I'll run this through my die cut machine and then I'll come back and then I'll do the same thing with my leaves. Okay? Okay, our greeting is all done. So, and I did pop them up with foam tape. Okay, and I just like them white. What we're going to do is place them a little bit wonky down here in this bottom corner. I think that is a good spot. And that will be my greeting. Okay, we're going to put this to the side and now we're going to work on step number 4 and create our background. I have a piece of seaside cardstock. Can you tell I love the seaside? Spellbinders' new ColorWheel cardstocks are just amazing, and this is probably one of my favorite colors. What we're going to do is do a little bit of heat embossing with a background stamp. And this is from Hero Arts. I've used this lots of times, and I'm not sure of the name. It's probably behind my sheet here, but I love the pattern on here, so we're going to use this. I'm using my Hero Arts unicorn ink. It's well loved. Any kind of ink that you have. I know Simon Says Stamp has a great white pigment ink. So does Pinkfresh Studio. I think since I'm using a Hero Arts stamp, we're going to stick with the Hero Arts unicorn ink. And I'm only using this. You could use Versamark even. Your watermark ink would work great too. Sometimes I just like to use the white pigment ink because I can actually see it on my cardstock. And it works just as well. So I'm going to lift this up, and now I have some wonky grids on here. I'm going to bring in my white embossing powder, and I'm going to go over it. Lovely. I'm going to use my heat gun, and we're going to melt this. Okay, lovely. I love this loving the way this looks. Okay, now what we're going to do is bring in some ink. I'm going to use a green ink. I chose one that coordinated close to my tree here. And what I'm going to do is use my blending brush, and we're going to add a little color gradient on the bottom and kind of fade up. Okay, let's just add a little color here. For my card today, my home panel and my focal image are pretty clean and simple. So this is when I like to doctor up my background a little bit more. And I think that's going to work out great. Now after I did this, I do have ink on my white embossing area. So to fix that, I'm just going to take a towel. I have a damp towel. And what I'm going to do is go over my embossed ink, bring that white back to life since we went over it with green. And that's all there is to my background. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my background, and I'm going to glue it down to the front of an A2 size card. Okay, now before we add our home panel, which I did put foam tape behind, I'm going to bring in some white twine. I'm going to wrap it around my card base a couple of times, maybe 3 times, and tie a bow off to the left here. And I'm going to wrap my twine around a little bit wonky, and I just better not have did that because I removed the release paper. That would have been a disaster. We're just going to tie a bow over here to the left. Okay, wonderful. Now I'm going to take my home panel, and we're just going to add this to the center. Tack it down. And then we're going to move along to step number 5, and we're going to embellish. I'm using my Spellbinders Aura AB gems. And let's grab my pickup tool here. And that will finish off my first card. Now for my second card, I mentioned that we're going to be using this die set here. Okay, the Falling Leaves. I went ahead and did my die cutting. Okay, and with the same colors of cardstock. So we have the light brown, dark brown, light yellow, dark yellow. And all you do is just layer the spine, which is separate, on the leaves. And there is debossed detail, so you know exactly where to put the spine of the leaf. I'll just tack this down. Those are our leaves, and then the acorns. Go ahead and add the topper. And there we go. Okay, so those will be my focal image. Okay, now for step number 2, we're going to create our home panel. And so what I did was die cut out the rounded edge rectangle, and then I did do the stripes from our Lots of Stripes die. I'm loving this die. We're just going to do a tone on tone and add the stripes to the white background. Now for step number 3, which is our sentiment, I'm using again the documented labels. This time there's some smaller labels. There's with 3 greetings that will fit in it. There's noted, fall, and cozy. There's also a tag in here with the reinforcement. I cut out the tag with my Seaside cardstock, and then each one of those labels, well, maybe we should start at the bottom here. With each one of the labels, I die cut out with the same colors of cardstock that we did our tree in. And we have a little dimension to there, and I did thread my tag with some that same white twine. I popped this up with some foam tape, we're going to go ahead and add this to the home panel. What I like to create a little center cluster. I have about maybe a 1/4 inch on this side, so I want to make sure that there's a 1/4 inch on this side showing. So this way it's nice and balanced. So that's my home panel, my focal point, and my sentiment. Now we're going to move along to step number 4. And I already created my background. This time I did the same thing as we did with our first card. I just went landscape with it. And all I'm going to do is put some foam tape behind here and place this in the center. And then for step 5, or embellishing, we're going to bring back our aura gems. And we're just going to add a few gems to our card here. And that will finish off that card, my little bonus card. So here's a look at both cards that we made today. Some fun fall cards. You can kind of customize it too. If you have somebody whose birthday who's in the fall, change out the greeting. You can stamp a greeting on that tag, and then voila, you have a cute little layout for some autumn birthday cards. But thank you so much for joining me. Have a fabulous rest of your day, rest of your week. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.